Hello, everyone. This is Pastor Steve DeVore from the Antioch Christian Church with this week's 3-minute message. Today's message is a highly condensed version of the sermon from March 21st entitled, Jesus Washes the Disciples' Feet. This message is taken from John chapter 3, verses 1 through 17. In the upper room in Jerusalem, just before the Passover feast, as the meal was being served, Jesus got up from the meal, wrapped a towel around his waist, and washed the disciples' feet. Afterward, he told the surprised disciples, "You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you." If we are going to be like Jesus, every one of us must be a servant. However, because of our self-centered human nature and our contemporary culture of entitlement, this is an extremely hard truth to grasp. But the good news is that today's text gives us two valuable insights into servanthood. Insight number one, being a servant requires surrender. Peter was reluctant to surrender his feet to Jesus. At first, he did not want to have his feet washed, but he realized that servants of Jesus Christ are those who have surrendered themselves to be cleansed by him. If you have ever had your feet washed, you know it feels awkward and it's hard to surrender our feet to be washed. For some of us, our feet are actually among our most private parts. Spiritually speaking, we also have private places in our lives as well. Places that we don't want anyone to see, not even God. But if we are going to be like Jesus, each one of us must surrender all of ourselves, our ugly parts and our dirty parts and our infected parts. We must surrender all of those parts to Jesus so that he can cleanse us. Insight number two, being a servant requires sacrifice. Jesus said, "I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you." Sadly, in the modern American church, we have traded the cross of Jesus Christ for something else that is far more comfortable and much less restrictive. Although it may have been unintentional, we have changed the center of our devotion from God to ourselves. But as followers of Jesus Christ, we have been called to be his servants. And being a servant requires sacrifice. To be specific, we have been called to wash dirty feet. Jesus said, "Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet." I'm afraid that many times we think it is our job to sell people new shoes rather than to wash their dirty feet. Or sometimes we act like the only thing we have to do is point people in the direction of the nearest shoe store. It is easier to sell new shoes than to wash dirty feet, isn't it? You don't have to touch dirty feet to sell new shoes. If you want to know more about following Jesus' example to be a servant, listen to my sermon from March the 21st, 2021. Meanwhile, may you have a great day and a blessed week.